r/ProRevenge.
Slumlord won't let the company out of a 5-year lease. I get the building condemned. To start. This is about the company I work for and a trip I took because I had to wire a building for a computer network because the building owner wouldn't. Backstory. Our company was moving a remote site to a new building. As the IT guy for the company, I was asked to look at the new building and get network ports marked out. The landlord refused to put in any low voltage lines, and we got quotes, but they were thousands of dollars. Enter me, my car, and 4 boxes of Cat 6 plenum. It's about an 8-hour drive, and I was doing about 30 drops. Not a ton, but still, a few days work in some place that's already built up. And it's drop ceiling with insulation on top. Messy, itchy work. Story. Day 1. We get there Monday morning at the start of the month. It's actually a cool summer morning, and we're from further south, so no one notices the AC not working for about an hour. Slowly, the building begins heating up. It gets to 80 by noon, 85 at 3 p.m. The rooms with floor-to-ceiling windows are greenhouses. It's absolutely miserable. We've been told by the workers still on site that the leasing company was told there was no AC in our building 3 weeks ago. The other thing is there are still workers on site. The building isn't completed. So much for being ready for a handover day 1. Day 2. We're getting agitated. It's 80 degrees in the AM when we first walk in. It's sweltering. The other guy that came up with me is the facilities manager. He's screaming at people over the phone to fix the F/King AC. We're all exhausted from the heat by 3 p.m. I found a 4-foot hole in the ducting when I opened the ceiling tile. The AC was blowing, but there was no cold air. We are told the compressor is broken. Day 3. More of the same. Miserable in the morning, I'm finally getting the last lines punched in on the patch panel. The AC guys arrive about 10 a.m. They finally fix the unit at 2 p.m. We asked them what they did. They said a lot of things. We again said, "What did you do?" The reply was, "We can't tell the tenants." Red flag alert. We contacted our realtor. She said she would look into what was done. She sends an email later that night that says they changed the refrigerant from our 22 to our 410A. I tell the facilities guy, "No way, dude. That's like putting gas in a diesel motor, they'd have to change out the entire system." They didn't do that in 4 hours. They basically duct taped and WD-40 that thing back together, and it will run poorly for a month or so, then give out, and we'd be stuck with a replacement. Day 4. Still no running water to some areas, still workers on site, the AC can't keep up with the noonday sun, and it still hits around 80 by the end of the day. AC runs continuously. We're packing up all the stuff we moved in and moving out. I notice all the fire sprinklers look like they have moved, and the metal protection around the drop tile has fallen to the floor. The sprinklers are no longer protruding from the tiles in places, in others, they are quite a bit lower than they were. Yet, the AC fools stood on the fire sprinklers to fix their lousy ductwork. We are looking for a friendly way out. We contact the landlord and say, "You haven't delivered a finished building, we're moving out. The lease is broken." Landlord has a 36-page lease. Landlord won't let us out of the lease, it's 5 years. This is not starting off well. We get in contact with the corporate lawyer and the realtor, they both agree we're kind of F/KED. We are desperate for any way out. I start looking at the fire system. I used to run all kinds of low voltage lines, fire, security, etc. There is no fire panel in our portion of the building. No smoke detectors are hooked up to anything. More red flags. One of our employees that was moving the heavy gear says, "Oh yeah, I meant to mention, I never saw any building permits anywhere, ding ding ding." They did this build out, including demolition, running new plumbing and power lines, and destroying the fire system, without a city permit. Cue the call to city inspector's office. Day 5. I wasn't here for this part, but the facilities manager told me this. The city inspector pulled the permits for the building. There weren't any. He finds multiple violations of city code. Red tagged our area, removed the certificate of occupancy. When I told him to check the fire system like you said, he just goes, "Oh no, I have to make a call." He calls the fire marshal. Day 8. Fire marshals arrive on scene. Find no active alarm system in our portion of the building. Red tag. Find the sprinkler riser for the entire building in our area. No water pressure. Condemn the entire building. Basically, they wouldn't let us out of the building because we signed a lease, even though they never delivered a building in any semblance of working order. Called the building inspector, got them smoked, who then called the fire marshal, who condemned the entire building. They are still trying to fight us over it, but we're pushing for them not only refunding our deposit and the rent, which they have already done, but for all the time spent moving gear in and out, and all the wiring. Our lawyer says they don't have a leg to stand on, and he's happy for them to pay his fees as well.
A response to the post.
Epic, well played. The best part is if he was doing that commercial, he cut corners residential. You possibly saved lives.
OP's response to this comment.
We were told later that one of the people who owned the property also worked for the property management company. My thoughts are he was getting licensed contractors out to his place on the side and told them he'd give them contracts to their entire portfolio if they did him a favor. I could be wrong, but this is some scummy level 9000 stuff.
A response to the post.
Nice job up. It's always nice to read whenever a corrupt individual/corporation gets their just desserts. Sorry you had to deal with the terrible working conditions for 5 days though, that sounds awful.
A response to this comment.
I wonder if /you/mysterious teaching 30 and others that directly suffered from the conditions could personally get an additional little payout in the lawsuit.
OP's response to this comment.
Lol, I wish. It wasn't hazardous, just uncomfortable compared to my 66-degree server room.
A response to the post.
Once the fire marshal condemns it, it's game over. They do not mess around. Not for nothing is the fire code known as the life safety code.
A response to this comment.
As an architect, I have come to understand the fire marshal is the most powerful person on the project. Whatever they say goes.
A response to the post.
I think this is so pleasing not just because it's such a complete correction, but because it's so damn clean.
OP's response to this comment.
I definitely enjoyed being able to kick this jerk straight in his balls repeatedly via the city inspector and fire marshal.
A response to the post.
I like this. Even if the landlord holds you to that lease, they are on the hook for unfucking the building, and at a minimum you won't be required to pay for lease until the issues are resolved. End communication.